that there were two twin gods, Baal and Beelzebul. They won the Archon War together, and when Baal established the shogunate, Beelzebul became her Kagemusha, or shadow warrior. In other words, she acted as Baal's body double. Beelzebul is A, with whom we are now both acquainted. Baal's name was Makoto. My god, and you're the true Raiden Shogun, who meditates endlessly in the plane of Euthymia to preserve her being. Her name is A. As far as the world was aware, there were not two, but one. They complemented each other, and they ruled Inazuma jointly, so there was no need for the public to know the truth. In fact, the name Baal and the title of Raiden Shogun was understood to refer to both of them. Right up until Makoto died several hundred years ago in a war that I was not personally involved in. Since then, A has assumed the shogunate. That was when A began to change. Makoto was her greatest loss. Before pursuing the eternity of her nation, she had to reach eternity for herself. Since the physical body will eventually turn to dust, she replaced hers with that of a puppet. And since the spirit is susceptible to erosion, she placed her consciousness inside her sword, where she remains in a meditative state, free from all disturbances. The plane of Euthymia, essentially the world inside her mind, a place that typically only allows her existence. She shuts herself off in her inner world, leaving all the affairs of the outside world to be dealt with by a puppet, who has a singular focus on the pursuit of eternity. This is the approach A has come up with for realizing eternity. Or you could take the view that she's acting like a little child, throwing a temper tantrum and locking herself in her room. The grand notion of eternity she once held has long since given way to the eternity of her own definition. And ultimately, her eternity is defined by fear. The fear of loss. A nation to last for all eternity is a dream that she and I both share. But I don't think that's the same thing as complete stasis. At some point, she started going down a path that became increasingly difficult for me to join her on. A never said goodbye to me before she stepped into the plane of Euthymia. Perhaps it's just my wishful thinking, but I think she did this deliberately, as her way of keeping our friendship eternal. By neither saying goodbye nor seeing me again, our relationship will remain forever how it was. In her mind, at least. Since we've embarked on two very different paths to eternity, I can either continue to maintain the status quo or do whatever it takes to bring her back on track, regardless of the cost. I have chosen the latter because if stubbornly isolating herself in the plane of Euthymia is her idea of eternity, then my duty as her eternal servant is to drag her back out of her own head and into the real world. Dear me, aren't you cutting it rather close?
Miko, this was your doing?
Now. Don't forget who taught you how to place your consciousness in objects. Surely you don't think your ambition alone is enough to shake A's will, do you? Though you alone are here, they too have ambitions, which they long since entrusted to you. Now then, close your eyes.
We can abolish the Vision Hunt Decree.
Why can you you not trust your people and in the power of their ambitions? These ambitions have transcended space and time. They are something that no one can snuff out. So are we to just abandon the notion of progress for the sake of wishful thinking?
You and I have both witnessed the great loss that progress can bring. Eternity. Eternity is the only way.
When all's said and done, all you really want is to protect your beloved Inazuma forever and ever. Isn't that right?
That would be something of an oversimplification.
But is this nation worth existing for eternity? Stripped of ambitions, stripped of the potential for change, it does nothing more than simply exist. It is a hollow shell of a nation. I wonder what loss would it really be to anyone if such a nation were destroyed?
Miko, retract your words. Never changing eternity is the promise I made to my people.
But what your people need from you is not your promises. They want your attention. Your divine gaze.
Humans have a lifespan of barely 100 years. They cannot afford to bear any extra losses. But I have experienced it all. That is why I have chosen to guide them along the correct path toward eternity.
But eternity is far too cruel a fate for you, eh? Not only have you stopped paying attention to the world, but you have stopped paying attention to yourself. It must have been terribly lonely here, all alone, for centuries on end. You will miss much by refusing progress. You seek to prevent loss, but have you considered all you are losing by remaining here in stasis for all eternity? You are obviously lonely, and yet for the sake of eternity you choose to stretch your loneliness out to infinity. Tell me this. Why is the sky here that was once so dark glowing again? Why now? This is your plane of euthymia. It's your inner world. So it can only mean that you are happy to see me again. You have found the loneliness here unbearable for a long time now, haven't you?
I have nothing to say to that.
But I have so much to say to you. Let me tell you all that has happened over the last few centuries.
How long will that take?
As a Fox envoy, I have an excellent memory. I recall every detail of the last few centuries with perfect clarity. So it will probably take me another few centuries to relay it to you.
Miko, I never thought I would have the chance to meet with you like this again. Seeing you again is a change to eternity. And a very nice surprise.
Since you are willing to admit that, I suppose that means we can still be friends?
What a childish conversation this is.
You are the one who's been acting like a child from the very beginning. You've lost, eh?
Yes, I have.
When one's fervent ambition burns brightly, the gods will cast their gaze upon you. Some ambitions have the power to heal wounds, to bring victory, to inspire hope. But some ambitions outlive their masters long after the soul ascends. They remain as they were in the beginning. Burning bright and true for all eternity.